What's going on, guys? It's Thulian. I'm here to just present another sort of opinion video. This one's not nearly as current drama based, but it's just my opinion on a series that I recently found in my recommended. So the name of this series is OMG a Girl, and it's a female content creator who documents her fucking god-awful experience in Rainbow Six Siege. Now, being a Rainbow Six Siege player myself, I think I have around 400 hours in the game, give or take. The community is very fucking toxic. And this is especially toward women because all the fucking 100% pure alpha males have apparently never seen a female in their life. So it is very true that when 90% of fucking Siege players see a female on the mic, they just go fucking ballistic. I think a large portion of Spawntaneous' OMG a Girl series does truly document how fucking bananas people go when there's a female who dares speak into the mic on Rainbow Six Siege voice chat. Because holy shit, a lot of these clips are just fucking insane, and it would be so annoying going from match to have to deal with that, specifically because of your gender, something you can't fucking choose at birth. It's just like, I feel so bad for Spawntaneous with a lot of these clips.
Wow, fuck you.
I think that guy's sexist.
What was that about having a girl on the team and losing?
You make my weenie hard.
Hey girl, can I get your number before I disconnect?
He's asking if you're a teamster.
And a lot of these clips, you can't just pawn them off by saying, oh, well, anyone would have gotten harassed in that situation, because a lot of them really are female exclusive, or the people weren't talking, but once the female spoke, then they become fucking monkeys. It's just absolutely insane how many female-specific harassments that this content creator has been able to capture in like a 8 to 10 minute video. And while a large portion of her content is very true, and it does document what a lot of female Siege players have to deal with, I think there are a few clips that I take concern to and that don't necessarily belong in this OMG a Girl series. I'm really only going to focus on one or two clips throughout this video. It's going to be another kind of short one, but I'm just trying to show some of the clips that don't necessarily belong in that series, because I think in some of these cases, regardless of gender, if someone was treating their teammates the way that Spawntaneous sometimes does treat her teammates on the mics, that they would get a toxic response either way. I just happen to think that in a series that's supposed to criticize the Rainbow Six Siege community to how toxic they are to women, you should maybe take out a few of these clips.
So why did you castle off the whole site? Why? Please tell me. Oh my gosh.
I cut off one door. There's two doors to that site. Why is there a dock out in the hallway?
I don't know, maybe because Castle didn't say anything?
There's two doors. Use your eyes.
Now they're playing Secure Area, and that wasn't removed from the ranked Rainbow Six Siege game mode until 2019, so I don't know if they're playing casual or ranked. However, either way, I think Spawn was being kind of rude to this castle, when in reality she could have just ripped down the castle barricade, and nothing really would have happened if she had done that. So while she's criticizing this castle pretty harshly for his placement of the castle barricades, she runs out into the hallway and happens to get killed by a Dokkaebi from Skylight. At which point she gets pretty heated and starts yelling at the castle, like, I would quite literally say yelling, over the fact that she didn't like where he put one of his castle barricades. But if it is ranked, and to my understanding Spawn usually plays around gold elo, which is relatively, like, serious high-level ranked, then I would understand why you'd be a little mad, but I think you should probably just tear down the castle barricade to get back in safely into Spawn, rather than go run out into Skylight, which is an area where enemies will commonly push. And I think that most Siege players would agree that regardless of gender, regardless of race, whatever, if you were to essentially yell at someone over mics in a potentially casual game for placing their gadget or their ability somewhere that you didn't like it, they would probably get pretty mad. And in this instance, since I would say that Spawn was being just about as toxic as the person she was criticizing, I don't think this belongs in a series that's supposed to call out the Rainbow Six community for how toxic they are to women. I think this would have happened to anyone. If you are yelling at someone over the way that they're playing the game, they're probably going to get mad at you. And then there's also one other clip where she kind of does the same thing.
Putting it in the corner and just muting drones, you're not even using mute to his full potential.
If you're mute, just mute the walls, dude.
She is.
You're
mate.
level 109, you should know that.
She's just giving you the advice to do it. There's no tone.
That's something a gold player should know.
Stop talking down to me, you fucking bitch.
Now in this instance, she is just finishing a round, or she's moving on to the next round, and she's once again being pretty heated over telling this mute where to put his gadget. Now for what she showed in the video, the person who played mute was never a toxic person to her. I don't even know if he had said anything over the mic up to that point, but he did get pretty mad when she and her friend were essentially yelling at him on where to put his gadget. Now regardless of elo, if you're solo queuing, you're going to have your own strategy that's not maybe going to coincide well with your team. Maybe the mute thought someone would have picked a Cade or something to cover the walls, so he just wanted to cover drones. But at the end of the day, if you're going to yell at someone over how they're playing a video game, you should expect there to be a relatively mean response back. But in similar fashion to the castle clip, Spawn showed herself being the aggressor. She was out there for blood. She was trying to make fun of another player for how he played the game or what his strategy was. And the player barked back with an equally toxic response, if not even more toxic. However, I will not defend the response that the mute had responded to Spawn, because what he said was really fucking toxic, and like, no way should that be justified. But taking a step back, if I was yelling at this guy on his mute jammer placements, I think he would have done the same thing to me. I think he would have done the same thing to anyone, regardless of gender, regardless of race, whatever. But that's really it. Those are the only two clips I wanted to analyze. Spawn's content did make me feel really bad for her and other female Siege players, and made me realize how toxic the community is and how shameful a lot of these players really are. However, in some cases, I think Spawn herself is representing the toxic side of this fanbase. And in a competitive game like Siege, obviously everything's going to get heated at some point or another. So I think the lesson that all of us should take from this, every Siege player, or not Siege player, any video game player really, if someone does something that you don't like, or if someone's a fucking girl, just be positive, be the best version of yourself, and I guarantee that you'll win more games that way too, so it's a win-win scenario. And with that, have a good one, guys.